So hello, welcome back to the channel, welcome to another Assetto Corsa Competizione video. Now I'm kind of filming this intro again because I forgot to put the little microphone on, and it never sounds great without it on. I did want to actually just flick this switch as well. I'm sure that works much better, it sort of reduces the sound a little bit. But yeah, hopefully, well, I'm going to be taking part in a race tonight at the Hungaroring in the 296 on the XCL servers. I'm going to be getting another shoulder injection tomorrow, so this is probably going to be my last race for another 3 weeks. Really looking forward to running tonight. Hopefully it's going to be a competitive race. As you can see, a couple of people getting very sideways here at Monza. I just wanted to give a quick mention to Cryptic TMG, the little book that I bought of his. A really detailed book. Slightly disappointed that there's no images. I sometimes think images can speak 1,000 words, especially when you talk about things like toe and cambers and stuff like that. But if you are thinking of getting into sim racing and you're not sure how to go about adjusting car setups, there's loads of detailed information in this book, really well put together. Kevin, thanks for everything that you've done for the community over the years. Releasing a book, absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I was hoping there was going to glean some special insights in the book, but definitely a lot of knowledge that I've already attained myself over the many years sim racing. But maybe there'd be something in there that I come across that will give me that little competitive edge that Cozy Learner seems to have at the minute. He seems to be smashing a lot of lap times at the minute, and I do feel slightly overshadowed by a lot of his lap times he's setting at the minute, especially in the XCL server hot laps. I'm sure he smashed my current fastest lap by a second, so quite demoralising. But I'm sure a lot of you out there that watch a lot of my videos would be more than happy to be setting similar lap times to myself, and I guess it's those kind of people that I'm aiming a lot of my videos towards with the setups that I leave on the videos. But hopefully you'll join me just after qualifying. We'll have a look over the setup that I'm using at the Hungaroring. Yeah, the other thing I did want to mention was Forza Motorsport. Obviously it's been on a lot of videos just recently, especially on YouTube. A lot of the people with the early access showing little clips. Still not seen any of the replays. I'd really love to see some of the replay footage just to see how the cars look during these kind of special looking replays. I'd love to see all that ray tracing that's going to be going on, and yeah, obviously Assetto Corsa Competizione isn't that polished, so I'm expecting big things really from the replays in Forza Motorsport. But yeah, join me shortly where we'll see the end of qualifying, and I'm just going to get my eye in for the next 15 minutes on the server. Ciao for now. So qualifying over, very close at the top 9 cars in less than a second. 10 cars, top 10 cars, less than a second. This is going to be a cracking race. Gia Ambresi, Tompa. A couple of drivers I've not seen before. Seen Mad Ski Caster. How many drivers have we got on the grid tonight? XCL 31 cars. Tuesday night. Brilliant. So we've got a 20-minute sprint race. No pit stops. Let's get 40 litres of fuel in. I'm going to put 42 litres of fuel in, just in case there's a one stop for fuel. I don't think there is. Now the rear tyres were getting quite hot. Might be worth just opening up that rear tyre. Just add in a few more PSI as soon as I've opened that up. Trying to stay under that 100 Celsius. Everything else seems alright, so obviously you can see the setup. Just make that little adjustment. Loads of rear wing. It's all about downforce, this circuit. So as you can see, no pit stops required, so everything's green. Just looking forward to this race. It's going to be tough. Very little between me and Tompa and Guillaume Bressy. It's just finding a space on the circuit to get a good lap in during qualifying. 38 cars in the grid. I know they struggle in Formula 1 to get a lap around here, so trying to do that with another 18 cars. 30, yeah, 30, yeah, 12, another 11 cars. So we've got one spectator. I'm not sure if Steph is doing this on his channel. A number of Lamborghini drivers, Porsches, Ferraris, McLarens, a good mixture of cars rounding out the grid. So looking forward to this. We've got the fan on. 20 minutes of tough racing ahead. Fingers crossed it doesn't end in carnage and I managed to actually do a good race for once in a while. It's been a while since I've had a good race on the XCL servers. Please don't have a disconnection. So I'm not too worried about tyres at this stage. Temperatures, we're going to get that lap to get them nice and warm. Drop that down to 50, all the way down to 50, so we can get some good heat throughout the whole tyre. It's this run down to turn 1 that scares me. Someone up the inside. I can remember the last race I had here was a mess at turn 1. I wish the outlap was a little bit quicker, to be honest. It seems very slow to try and build heat in the tyres. I'll look more at the temperature of the tyres as well as we build this lap. So hello then and welcome. I thought I would just jump in and do some audio whilst Jade's trying to focus on driving, or while I'm trying to focus on driving. Obviously we're trying to get over 80 Celsius. Be nice to get up to 90 or something. PSI in the tyres is kind of like my second priority. So yeah, rather than just leaving it and just watching just a standard race from inside the cockpit, I thought I'd just jump on board and do a little bit of a commentary whilst we're watching this race. So getting good figures all through the tyres just now as we're driving, and yeah, just explaining. Obviously if you look down at the delta, the detail that's in the dashboard, a good level of heat. Front left tyres, front right tyres, about 88 Celsius, 87, so really good temperature to be looking at. Maybe so 90. Just let that PSI drop a little bit. 90s would be perfect really to start out the lap, and I really would like to see these starting laps. Put my brake balance back. Just increase the speed a little bit more. I'd prefer to be doing about 100, at least 100 mile an hour constantly throughout the entire lap. See the tyre pressure just dropping. It's just much easier to get temperature into the tyre temperatures if you could drive a little bit faster. It's kind of a balancing act with the tyre pressures and the temperatures. So yeah, just looking at the PSI down the left hand side as well, a very varied amount of PSI. Obviously each tyre's got a different amount of pressure in it, and as the tyres sort of start to hot up and we can actually put some load through the tyres, they will start to equal out. But yeah, let's get ready for the start of this race. Down into turn 1, always going to be a tricky one. The first couple of corners, it really is a case of trying to find your feet, trying to just feel where the car is, find the balance of the car. So just getting everything settled, obviously on the dirty side of the circuit as well in P1. So trying to keep as much left as I can without getting in some sort of penalty. So Tomper pulling alongside, just nudging a little bit further ahead. Can see the graphic just down the bottom left hand corner there as he starts to move alongside, and then he's moving slightly ahead just at the start.
Terrible
so
start.
A nice good roll up alongside me and just pulls out that first place, and then I'm almost losing in third place really at the moment. The second place car just alongside there, Lamborghini. I think it's GMC
left hand side,
just coming up the rear. And I'm just kind of looking in that rear view mirror as well, just looking at the radar as well, get a little touch on the back end of the car. I'm not sure he's not done very much damage at all, but really needing to run wide to actually keep momentum through this section. And again, probably, yeah, just stepping outside the confines of the circuit just to try and keep that place. I know I'm going to be a little bit quicker once we settle down, so I really don't want to give up second place. The Ferrari's pretty good over them curves as well. It doesn't really seem to unsettle the car too much. Again, running over this other inside curve really nicely hooked up. So very early stage of the race, and obviously just trying to work out.
car feels very different.
Like Jay's saying there, obviously, or like I'm saying, obviously first time running with, I think we've got 40 litres of fuel on, 42 litres of fuel. I'll generally run 20 litres of fuel for every 10 minutes as just an easy ballpark figure to never think I'm going to run out of fuel during a race. There'd be nothing worse than starting a race and realising you've got to pit for fuel because you've run short. So if you go by that rule, for every 10 litres in the car you can do 5 minutes. So braking just before the 100-yard board, never really wanting to pick up that inside curb, it just unsettles the car too much. Braking at the curb on the right hand side, trying to hold second gear as long as we can into there before we shift down to first. Sometimes drop into traction control 4 on the exit there just to get a better launch, but the McLaren up ahead is just brutal on acceleration. I'm sure Tomper's running a little bit less rear wing than me. Just mentioning there, obviously I really am catching him through these tight corners, but as soon as we hit any sort of acceleration phase, especially coming off here as well, it just seems to plant the car and it just leaves me for dust really. But then we hit the corners again and I just seem to catch up a little bit closer to him. So as much as I always think when you look at the aerodynamics in the setup menu, and you can increase it usually from 1 to 12, it's generally, I wouldn't just call the rear wing downforce. It's literally like an all over downforce. It just, I treat it more like overall downforce, because there's no front splitter on most of the cars. Any sort of adjustment is just generally just pure downforce.
Such a waiting game, that corner.
Yeah, I think it's just clear to see on this straight, Tomper's just pulling away from me, and as much as it's probably the best place to overtake at the Hungaroring, it's kind of a little bit too short. It could have done with being a little bit longer really. We haven't got the benefit of DRS sections for the GT3 cars, but I think I really do need it on this circuit. But going through the twisty stuff, the Ferrari really does, it never feels like I'm scared of getting back on the power. It feels really comfortable through the corners. Feels like there's loads of grip, as much as you're waiting for grip through some of these corners to obviously get the power down. It's not all easy to do, but at never any stage where I feel in the setup that the rear end's unstable. Tomper has a few little moments that give me a glimmer of hope throughout the race as to where I might be able to get past, and you can see him definitely running wide in a number of areas. I really was kind of hoping he might pick up a track limits penalty, especially through this section. He seems to run wide a number of times.
Just missed my braking spot, couldn't quite see it then.
Yeah, I was watching a few more Forza related videos earlier today. Really I'm keen to see what Forza has to offer. I don't think it's going to be matching the races that we get here at Assetto Corsa Competizione, and the XCL servers have never been busier. I don't think. Whenever there's a race on, you really are struggling to get a position now unless you book early. So really I'm pleased with the guys at XCL that have made all that possible, all these kind of races possible, really filling up the grids, all the participation for the hot laps on a Sunday, or finalising on the Sunday. Throughout the week there's usually someone on there trying to set a fast lap. But really I'm enjoying, as we're getting closer to the separation, I guess, within the point system on XCL, with people moving from bronze to silver to gold. The racing is getting so much closer, and it really is great to see battles like this with myself and Tomper. And again, Kyle Williams just a few seconds off the lead. Jan Bracey as well. Really close battles behind. It really is great to see. So I'm sure it's the case that if you do actually run wide off the circuit, but you aren't actually up on your delta, it isn't classed as a track infringement, and you generally don't get a track limits penalty unless you're doing something crazy. But yeah, this last corner, it's a constant battle for grip. The steering goes really light, a really good feeling of on the limit balance, I guess. So finally getting into the 143 laps. I'm sure if we were racing with Cozy Lerner on this track, he'd have been a few seconds ahead by now. Some crazy lap times getting put in by Crazy Lerner. Really would love to know his secret, to be honest. I'm sure I mentioned at the start of the video, he seems to be topping out all the leaderboards at the moment. Also a quick mention, Chijidi Partey, a friend of mine that's been all the way back to Project Cars 2, finally hitting the 145s at Monza in the McLaren. I know he's been trying for quite a long time in the BMW, the Ferraris, and finally getting there in the McLaren. If you've not seen his channel or seen any of his laps, I know he doesn't disclose the setups that he's creating, which is definitely I guess it's a personal thing, but I'm sure a lot of people would be keen to get hold of that 145 setup in the McLaren. But I've seen a lot of other guys into the 147s, early 147s, and into the 146s. I'm sure I was racing Phantom Shiznitz just the other day, and he was into the 146s. So yeah, some really good battles. Monza's always seemed to be topping out the list in the online leaderboards. It's usually a full lobby on most sessions at Monza. Yeah, obviously you can see the temperatures, tyre temperatures, looking very good. He was to come alongside. Is this an opportunity to get alongside into turn 3 or turn 2? Just not going to be able to go around the outside at all. So I think honestly just little touch of brake there, wasn't going to commit. Hopefully he was going to run a little bit wide, just braking too deep into the corner. I was going to get the switch back, but obviously Tompa's, it's not his first rodeo. I think he was just trying to stall me on the exit there to not get that run out of the corner as well. So good racecraft, it really is. Good little battle. Lovely little flames out the back of the McLaren as well. Just a little touch of flame when he's off throttle. So 10 minutes left of this race. I was actually enjoying a couple of races the other night at Monza as well, where the time was at 12 times progression. So it really was a battle to actually try and maintain temperature in the tyres, which is something I was discussing just a few minutes ago. Obviously you can see that 92, 83 at the front of the car, 92, 86 at the rear of the car. Really good tyre pressures, tyre temperatures throughout, so definitely nothing to grumble about when it comes to trying to keep the temperature in the tyres. That annoying audio, thankfully it's just for a few seconds, but something that I have tried to remedy on the Xbox, but it does seem to creep in. I sometimes feel like I need to just get rid of a lot of the stuff that I keep on my external hard drive and just keep cleaning it down every now and then. I did try changing the output from the audio to uncompressed audio, which I thought had solved things, to be honest. Uncompressed stereo or something like that in the settings, but really disappointed to see it come back just briefly in this video, but thankfully not throughout the rest of the video. So yeah, maybe the Ferrari needs a little bit of a tweak, maybe to lose some of that rear wing, maybe try and add some of the rear downforce by way of mechanical grip, just to try and make this setup a little bit more competitive when it comes to acceleration off the corners. Again, like I mentioned at the start of the video, with Cryptic TMG's setup guide, might be worthwhile. I've got a little bit of time on my hands trying to get the shoulder back in to contention, or just trying to get it mended. There might be a few little pieces of information in there that I'm overlooking when it comes to the setup, especially when I'm looking at a second off the pace when it comes to Cozy Learner. There must be something that I'm doing or he's doing where we are differing in our setups. I don't think the toe glitch
so hard to overtake
is still a thing anymore.
So closely matched.
-4, -4 on the toe. I don't think that's still a thing. Yeah, I think it's just so clear to see how much acceleration the McLaren's got. Just doesn't seem to be able to throw it into the corners the way I do. Catch up so quickly through the section. And then he just puts his right foot down and just starts to pull away. Just like he hits a turbo button as we come off that through the chicane there. See, again, I'm just switching between 8 and 4 on the traction control, just to get some drive off some of the corners. Again, running very wide, Tompa. If you're watching this, Tompa, just let us know if you picked up any track limit penalties. It would be really interesting to know. So yeah, visiting the hospital just yesterday then, having an injection. It's like a steroid injection just to try and control the inflammation that's going on within my shoulder. Somewhere in the front, or the bursa, the sac that sort of separates your shoulder joint or cushions the shoulder joint, and then some sort of inflammation in the section of the long head of my bicep at the front of my shoulder. It just really does radiate pain all through my shoulder, all the way down the back of my delt into my rear lats as well, or the lats. It really is an uncomfortable feeling through the shoulder. But during the examination that I was having done with the ultrasound whilst getting my injection, it was just showing me how much the biceps kind of degrading, and it might possibly be down to some calcium build-up within the muscle itself. So this might be another area that I'll look at getting treated using other methods, hopefully before any kind of surgery. But it really is holding me back in both physical training at the gym and on the rig. It's just, I mean, I've had a full-on session today, to be honest, knowing that I'll be at the hospital tomorrow. I think I've had about 20 races throughout the day. Tried to lay down a good lap at Indianapolis in the Ferrari, just creeping into the 145s.
Got nothing down the straight.
But yeah, even though I was so close to him here, I really couldn't do anything. Just pulls away from me, even in the slipstream, which is incredible. Just got nothing to give at all. But yeah, I really enjoyed, if anyone else is a Formula 1 fan like myself, really enjoyed the weekend's race at Singapore. Definitely looking forward to this weekend at Suzuka, and just really nice to see the field open up, and there was so much excitement towards the end of that race, with Lewis and George having a good battle, Sainz just holding on to that lead. It was a really cracking race. Great to see Lando up on the podium again. If you've got any thoughts on the Formula 1 season as it's developing this latter stages of the season, I know the first portion has been hugely dominated by Max, but really I'm wanting to see a much more open field in this last portion of the season. As much as I can't see anyone else other than Max picking up that number one place, it's just a case of when really for Max. But yeah, once again Tompa doing a fantastic job of keeping position, really good positioning for the car. Just kind of hoping this back marker might help things a little bit, but it really does a nice job of just keeping out of the way. So often you find back markers that aren't aware of what's going on around them. But yeah, thanks very much. Daz, thank you very much. So 2 more laps to go then, try and make this happen. So 14 litres of fuel still left in the car, so definitely could probably empty out a few litres. Obviously starting out with 42 litres of fuel. The concentration on my face is sometimes funny to watch. Always looking at that delta as well. It's probably a really bad habit of mine, to be honest, but by using the delta, and I'm sure a lot of drivers will do this, even F1 drivers, they'll be looking down at the wheel or just seeing the red in the corner of the screen, then the green, then the red, knowing whether they're keeping up with the delta. It's so important, such an important piece of information. I'd really love to hear a little bit more information from the pit as well, where other cars are doing or what other cars are doing on the circuit. While we can't have things like crew chief within the game itself, just a little bit more information would last lap just make you feel a little bit more involved, I think, knowing where other cars are on the circuit, if other drivers are quicker in certain areas. Not sure whether they'll add that into the game or not, but I'm sure we had a little update as well the other day. I'm not quite sure what additions have come to the game, whether it's stability issues that have corrected, but I'm sure we're no longer on 1.9.2. So last lap of the race then, do or die really. Is he going to hold it together? Or am I going to have a late lunge somewhere? Dropping down to first gear. The first time I dropped to first gear through that section, Tompa getting very squirmy as we come off there as well. It's probably just rattled his nerves a little bit. Can he hold it together through these latter stages of the race? As much as he's holding it together, he's just pulling away really through all the acceleration phases. Just missing the apex. Just nowhere near close enough. So as we come through the last corner then, Tompa doing a great job. One more back marker. It's not going to be catching him anywhere near soon enough to cause an issue. And across the line then to take P1. Myself in P2. I'm sure Kyle Williams pulling up in P3 and Gian Bresci I think in P4. Not quite sure P5.
Good race.
Might get to have a little look at
really good race.
The finishing results. And someone just pulling out the pits.
Oh, what can I say? I guess when you're racing another car that's very close on pace, trying to find an overtaking place. Can we see results? Tompa then taking P1. Did I take fastest lap? I feel like there was always a faster lap on there as well. Just couldn't quite get any quicker. But yeah, good race. Obviously just 3 seconds behind Kyle, so still really good pace, and then quite a close top 6 I think, and then Baz just dropping back a little bit. Guys still racing to across the line, those final places. Still a good race, thoroughly enjoyed that. Good, nice close battle. I'll just add Tompa and just send him a message. Good race, mate. Good race. That's the disappointing thing when you haven't got that pit stop. There's no errors to be made. I think there was a few little errors that he made, but nothing that I could really capitalise on. It's so quick, the McLaren, down the start-finish straight. Wasn't really an area that I can overtake. But I feel like if I'd have been ahead of him, I'd have probably pulled away a little bit. But again, I don't know how much quicker he would have been catching me on the straights. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll be back. Who knows when to do another video, but hopefully you enjoy the setup. Let me know how you get on with it. Until next time, ciao for now.